Today we're previewing the HOZO Neosander. Now I've liked previous HOZO products and this claims to be the world's first palm-sized detail sander. But is this just the usual Kickstarter hype and nonsense, or is this going to be a useful addition to your toolbox? Let's find out. So the Neosander is actually my third HOZO tool. And judging from the fact that 7 months later I'm still using the pencil and I'm still using the Neo blade, I've actually gone into this video with pretty high hopes. Quick caveat though, the sander I'm testing here is a pre-production version that HOZO sent me, and so you should really class this as a preview rather than a review. So bearing that in mind, what is a Neosander? The Neosander uses a reciprocating linear motor. That basically just means that the sandy bit is strapped directly to the motor so that when the motor turns, it vibrates a lot, which basically means that it's slightly more power efficient and smaller. It fits right in the palm of your hand, weighs less than 100 grams, is cordless, splash proof for when you want to do wet sanding, and it has quick swap heads. If you've never heard of HOZO, the unboxing experience is a really premium one. Think iPhone and you're not too far off. For this video I received the premium combo, so that's what we're going to be testing here. Hi folks, Editor James here. Just had the pricing confirmed and I want to just let you know that the premium kit that I'm testing here is $129, but the basic kit is just $69. So yeah, that is a little bit more expensive than sanding sticks, but I think that's pretty good value. What do you think? Right then, enough of the specs, let's get to using it. It feels surprisingly solid. It has the same alloy shell that the Neo blade has, which is smooth and cold to the touch. Flip it over and tiny button controls power. I like the fact it's an actual clicky-clacky button. It has a little LED inside to show power level. Blue is for fully charged, orange when that drops a little bit, and when the power drops below 20% power, it changes red. There's a slider on the front which you can control with your thumb and slide it back and forth to control the power of the sander. Simple enough. If I had one criticism, is that I've got quite big hands, so the sander actually feels a little bit small in my hands. Comfortable, just, you know, I wouldn't mind an extra inch.
That's what she said.
Actually, that's a lie. When you're fitting the sandpaper to the little quick change heads, they're a bit fiddly too. It'd be great if they arrived pre-installed, but it's just me moaning really. It's only a big job once, and then after that you're just changing them as you need to. And I do love the little grid of push fit heads that are all color-coded. It makes it really simple to choose and also really easy to remember what size grit you're using for what thing, to avoid making silly little cock-ups when you're in your projects. The counterweight inside feels really nice and thought out, so the balance is nice, and the vibration is pretty minimal, even at top speed. It is quite noisy though. Charging is fast, it takes 30 minutes to top up to a full battery, and that gives you about 40 minutes sanding at high power and about 4 hours of light use, whatever that means. In reality, it's long enough to do whatever sanding projects you could possibly need to do for any modelling. I certainly never had it run out on me. Oh, and did I say it's also splash proof, so you can use it for wet sanding, which is how I prefer to do sanding, because frankly it's just much more efficient and you get less dust. I basically have two main uses for sanders: removing support marks from resin models and cleaning up sprue marks from plastic models. First up, the 3D print supports. This is honestly pretty self-explanatory. I use a blade to trim the supports flush to the model, and then use the sander to bring the surface back to normal again with the coarsest grit, then use progressively finer grips. I can go all the way through 7 different grades of grit, up to a maximum of 1500, which by the time you get there is basically polishing the model. The shapes too are interesting, with 8 different shapes in each grit size. I don't honestly think you need all these, but it's nice to have them. I found myself using 4 or 5 shapes regularly, and having all the grips preloaded was actually awesome and completely removed any barriers in using the tool and made swapping them all really simple. On the plastic, like this Gunpla kit, the process was pretty similar, and as a result the barrier to use it was much smaller, and I was able to just build my models a little bit faster than I would do. I just had the sander next to me on the desk and the head's next to that, so able to quickly just whiz off any little burr marks, and away you go. It's precise, it's controlled, and it's kind of addicting to use. The sanding was almost fun. Almost. Prepping models still sucks though. Do you need it? Probably not. You could use any number of cheaper options like sanding sticks or sponges or rotary tools or files, but they won't be as fun and your friends won't think you're as cool. Honestly, I'm a big fan. You should try and make the hobby as fun as you can possibly make it. And buying tiny nerdy tools is all part of that fun. So let's wrap this up. The Neosander is cool. It works brilliantly. It has minimal vibration and excellent grip. It's cordless, palm size, lightweight, all those good things. It's got quick swap color-coded sanding heads which are laid out in a grid which makes them really easy and intuitive to use. It's splash proof so you can wet sand, and it's got quick charging. On the flip side of that, it's quite a high price for just a casual user, particularly when sanding sticks cost less than a couple of pounds. It's quite noisy. And thicker, tougher materials reduce the range of movement, which make the sanding process a little slower. This means it's more suitable for small detail work than large-scale sanding. And of course, the replacement heads and the sandpaper are all proprietary. I'm sure you can work around this by cutting up your own, but if you want to buy it as advertised here, you'll have to go through HOZO. So is the Neosander worth it? I think for casual users, no, it probably isn't. But if you're working with tiny little precision models regularly, then yeah, I would definitely recommend buying this. Precision, speed, just works. Yeah, it's fun, man. The Kickstarter is live right now and Sander is linked down in the description below. HOZO have a great track record with this, having raised over $2.8 million on Kickstarter over all of their various campaigns. So if you've liked the look of the Neosander while watching this video, do go and check them out using that link below. If you've enjoyed the video and this more laid back style of review, do hit like, subscribe and comment down below to let me know. Your feedback's really important to me. And I'll just wrap up by saying a huge thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon, reads my newsletters, joins in the chat over on my Discord, or just generally leaves a comment down in the videos below. You're all legends and you know who you are. So I'll just say that this is RisingApe Minis. I've been James and I'll see you next time.